So just give me a minute. We are in Mādhurya Kādambinī. Mādhurya Kādambinī. More than close. Nāmāśraya-bhakti. Better translation. Two of them. Okay, I'm just reading a little bit from the past session, in the translation. Certain portions. One may argue that not performing all the angas of bhakti or performing them incompletely produces Nāmāśraya, but that is not so, for it is said, O Uddhava, because I have personally established it, the process of Nishtama bhakti is beyond the Guna. Thus, even by starting and not completing the process, there is no destruction of results. The 10-syllable mantra, when chanted, gives perfection. This particular offense refers to performing acts of bhakti with the intention of committing sin. One hears criticism and atonement only when there is intention of committing sin. In Karma Yoga, there is criticism if some part of the action is omitted or irregular, but in bhakti, this is not so. Even ignorant living entities can very easily come to know the Supreme Lord if they adopt those means prescribed by the Supreme Lord. The process recommended by the Lord is known as Bhagavata Dharma. O King, one who accepts this process of devotion service will never be affected by pride. Even while running with eyes closed, he will never trip or fall. The above verse says that the person possesses eyes but closes them, and he not only moves but runs till he does not fall down. This means that taking shelter of bhakti and knowing all the angas of bhakti, he omits to perform some of the angas as if ignorant of them, but does not incur sin or reverse for this, nor is he deprived of results. Closing the eyes does not mean ignorance of Shruti and Smriti scriptures, since that contradicts the meaning of the statement. He has eyes, knows scripture, but closes his eyes. One should also not say that he commits the 32 seva paradas, but receives no effect from it, since the verse states that he takes shelter of the method described by the Lord. Vata prokta upaya. Acts like going in front of the Lord, wearing shoes, or riding in a palanquin are forbidden. Concerning seva paradas, it is also said, he who commits offenses to the Lord is a two-legged animal. Seva paradas are condemned in the scriptures. If the nama paradas, whether long-standing or recent, have been committed unconsciously, but their presence is indicated by the result, that is lack of advancement, the only recourse is to chant the name constantly. By that, steadiness in bhakti will gradually be attained and offenses will be neutralized. If nama parad is committed in full knowledge, then the following points must be taken into account. Disrespect for Vaishnavas. Sadhu ninda or criticism of Vaishnavas is the first offense. The word ninda means animosity or malice, as well as criticism, literal meaning. If by chance this offense occurs, the person should be repentant recognizing his own low nature in having committed the offense. Right. In the same way that a person who has been burned by fire seeks relief in fire, he should nullify the offense by lamenting, resolving to come before the Vaishnava, fall at his feet, and satisfy him by offering his obeisances, praises, and respects. If the Vaishnava is not satisfied, the person should remain ready to comply with his every wish for many days. If the offense is so great that the Vaishnava's anger does not die, in great remorse, thinking himself most unfortunate to fall into unlimited ills because of his unmitigated offense, he should give up everything else and take shelter of continuous Nama Sankirtan. By the great power of Nama Kirtan, certainly in time that person will be delivered from his offense. One may think, what is the use of falling at the devotee's feet and admitting my offense? The supreme method for destroying offenses is chanting the name. It is said, the names of the Lord destroy the sin of those who have committed offenses to the name. By tireless chanting of the names, prema will appear. Thinking in this way, one commits further offense. Nor should one think, okay, nor should one think that the offense of sadhunanda operates only in relation to a Vaishnava is fully and perfectly endowed with all the qualities mentioned in scripture, such as tolerance, mercy, kindness, and kindness to all living entities. Such a person attempts to minimize his own offense by pointing out some defect in the devotee. In the same section describing offenses in the Padma Purana, it is said concerning simple persons who worship the Lord, O Brahmana, persons devoid of proper conduct, who are duplicitous, who cheat the world by their vratas, who are proud, addicted to liquor and wicked, who cannot give up sin and are cruel, who are absorbed in wealth, wife, and sons, who are the lowest, become liberated by surrendering to the lotus feet of Govinda. Thus, a devotee who may show some occasional fault should be considered a sadhu. Not that he shows occasional fault for eternity, not like that. It is vanishing. It is vanishing. We already saw that in Krishna Chakravarti Thakur's commentary to Chipram Bhavati Dharmatma. It vanishes, in fact, very fast, to such an extent that Krishna is saying he quickly becomes righteous in the present tense, not even in the future tense. Kimcha. Kaschin Mahabhagavatatva Mahaparadhinyapi Yadyapi na kupyati. Tadapi tatra aparadhavata swashuddhyartham pranatyadivir anuvartaniye vasa. Also, if a great offense has been committed against a Vaishnava, but the Vaishnava does not become angry because of his exalted nature, as a Mahabhagavata, the offender should still fall at that devotee's feet and seek ways of pleasing him in order to purify himself. Sersham Mahapurusha Pam Subhir Nirasta Tejassu Tadeva Shobhanam. Here it is. Iti Satam Vakyena Tat Charana Renunam Asahishnu Taya Tat Phala Pradatva Avagamat. It is not surprising that the materialists, claiming that the gross body is the soul, constantly criticize the devotees with envy and become deprived of their powers by the dust from the feet of the great devotees. Just a minute, 1 minute, let me just put on message. I'm being called. So, put it on. that power of that criticism is resulted is, though the Vaishnava may forgive offenses, the dust of his feet does not tolerate the offense and delivers the fruits of the offense on the guilty person. There is a view that the dust of the lotus feet of a great Vaishnava refers to his followers. Kimcha durravagamanishkaranake kvachit kripadrishtau prabha vishnau swachanda charite kvachin mahabhagavatam maulau tu nakapi maryada paryapnoti. Sometimes the causeless or fathomless mercy of the powerful, spontaneous, most elevated of Mahabhagavatas in distributing mercy is without limit. Yatha shibikayam vahayati katuti vishavarshinyapi rahugane Shri Jadabharatasya kripa. For instance, even though made to carry Rahugana's palanquin and made the object of the king's harsh words, Jadabharata bestowed his mercy. Just as when Rahugana was being carried on a palanquin, and Rahugana, he showered bitter Sorry, I got cut off. Let me get back. No? Okay, let me get back to this. Okay. Yatha shibikayam vahayati patuti vishavarshanyapya rahugane Shri Jadabharatasya kripa. Just as Jadabharata showed mercy on King Rahugana. Yathasha pashanta dharmavalambini swahimsartham upasedushi daitya samuhe uparitarasya vaso chedi rajasya. In a similar way, Uparichara Vasu, Chedi Raja, the king of Chedi, he showed mercy on the Daityas who had come to him in order to commit violence upon him when they had accepted the nature of the Pashanda. Yathava maha papini swal lalate rudhira patinyapi madhave prabhuvarasya nityanandasyeti. In the same way, the excellent Lord Nityananda showed mercy to Madhavananda, Madhava, even though the latter had injured his forehead, causing it to bleed. And Madhava was extremely sinful. Evameva guroravagya ityatrapi jyayam. The offense of guroravagya, disrespect to Guru, the third aparad, must be considered in the same way as the first aparad. Shivatsi Shri Vishnu ityatraiva Sorry, Ityatraivam Vivechaniyam. Misunderstanding the position of Vishnu and Shiva should be considered as follows. Chaitanyam hi dvividham bhavati swatantram aswatantram cha. Conscious beings are of two types, independent and dependent. Tatra prathamam sarva vyapakam ishvarakyam dvitiyam dehamatra vyapi shaktikam jivakyam ishittavyam. The independent being is the all-pervading Lord, known as Ishvara. He is of the first type. And the dependent beings are the particles of consciousness, jivas, energies of the Lord. Jivas who have the capacity to pervade only within their body. They are known as the jivas, and they are ishitavya. They are controlled. You have the Ishvara, the controller, and then you have the ishitavya, the controlled. Ishvara Chaitanyam Vividham, the independent conscious being, Ishvara, he is of two types. Maya sparsha rahitam leelaya svikrita maya sparsham cha. One is not at all touched by Maya, and the other, for the Lord's pastimes, accepts the touch of Maya. The second one can simply be described as one who touches Maya as a pastime. In other words, both of them are not under the control of Maya. One of them does not touch Maya even as a pastime. The other touches Maya, accepts the touch of Maya as a pastime. That's even more clear. Leelaya svikrita maya sparsha. The second type accepts the touch of Maya as a pastime. Now the Jivatmas are not like this. The Jivatmas, they are not touching, they are not accepting the touch of Maya as a pastime and so on. If they turn away from Krishna, then they are arrested by Maya. In that way, the Jiva is different from the first type of Ishvara and the second type of Ishvara also. Tatra Prathamam Nārāyanādhyabhidham. The first type of Ishvara is called by such names as Narayana. Yaduktam, as it has been stated. Harir Nirguna Sakshat Purusha Prakrate Paraha iti. Hari is directly the non-material Lord, devoid of the material gunas. Dvitiyam Shivatyabhidham. The second type of Ishvara is called by such names as Shiva. Yaduktam, as it has been stated. Shiva Shakti Yuta Shashvat Trilingo Gunasamvritaha iti. Shiva accepts the three gunas and is covered by them. There's more to it. Shiva is conjoined with Shakti always. He has three features and is covered by the three modes. Atra guna samvrita lingenapi tasya jivatvam na ashankaniyam. Though Shiva is covered by though Shiva has the characteristic of being covered by the gunas, one should not think that he is in the category of the Jiva. Kshiram yatha dadvikara vishesha yoga sanjayate nahidata pathakasti hetu yasham bhutam api tatha samapaiti karyat govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami iti Brahma samhitokte. As the Brahma Samhita says, I worship the Supreme Lord Govinda, who becomes the form of Shiva, who is said to be non-different from Govinda, but who is also different because of his contact with the transformations of Prakriti. Just as milk becomes yogurt, which can be said to be non-different from its cause, but acts in a different manner. Anyatra cha Purana Agama Adishu Bahutra Ishvaratvena Prasiddhescha. And in many other scriptures, such as the Puranas and Agamas, Shiva is well known as Ishvara. What happened to this? Okay, anyway, let me go through. Yattu Sattvam Rajastama iti Prakriter Guna ityatra Ityake Harivancha Hara Tat Sadharanyan Brahmanyati Ishwaratvam Avagamyate Tat Ishwara Avesha Deveti Yayam. Now in that verse, Bhagavatam 1.2.23, it is stated that for the purpose of creation, for the purpose of maintenance, creation and destruction, the Lord has three forms in the form of Hari, Virincha and Hara. So in that way, generally, it yields the understanding that Brahma is also the Lord. That should be understood as him being empowered by the Lord, Ishvara. That is all, nothing more than that. Bhaswan yathashma shakaleshu nijeshu te jasviyam kiyat prakatayat japitad padatra brahmaya esha jagadanda vidhana karta iti Brahma Samhitokte, because the Brahma Samhita says, I worship the Supreme Lord Govinda. Wait, let me just check out our let's sit down with this. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, from whom the separated subjective portion Brahma receives his power for the regulation of the mundane world, just as the sun manifests some portion of his own light in all the effulgent gems that bear the names of Suryakanta, etc. This is the correct translation. Because Lord Govinda does not become Brahma. He in fact empowers Brahma, just as the sun does not become the Suryakanta and similar gems. It displays a small portion of its power in those stones. Tatha, and Parthiva Daruno Tumas Tasmadagnistrayi Mayaha Tamasastu Rajastasma Sattvam Yad Brahma Darshanam Ityatra Tamasas Sakasha Rajasas Vaishyo Ki Vastuto Rajasi Dhumastaniye Shuddha Tejasthani Yasya Ishwarasya Anupalabdhescha. Smoke is superior to dull wood, and fire, sacred to the Vedas, is superior to smoke. Similarly, Rajas is superior to Tamas, and Sattva is superior to Rajas, since it is favorable for realizing the Lord. As smoke is superior to wood, so the mode of passion compared to smoke is superior to the mode of ignorance compared to wood. Just as fire is not situated in the smoke, one cannot perceive the Supreme Lord in the mode of passion. Sattve Sankvalanag now Shuddhate Jasaha Sakshadiva Parthive Darusthaniye Tamasyapi Tasyantar Hita Tayopalabdhir Askeva. In the mode of goodness, which is like the blazing fire. One can directly perceive the Lord Vishnu. Just as fire is situated within wood, so in the mode of ignorance, the Lord's presence can be assumed to exist in a latent state. Okay. This young devotee just passed away, just continues. We will pray to Radha Madhava for benefit. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. So very respectful to the Vaishnavas, and he's a godfather of mine. He's very respectful to all. Therefore, we should make quick spiritual progress. Any moment we can die. Tat karya anusuktau nirbheda jnana sukhanubhava vidyadi vicharya tatvam avasaya. The happiness of realization of the Lord in its impersonal aspect may be compared to the state of sleep, which is characteristic of tamoguna, with a vague awareness of the Lord's presence. Atha ishitavyam chaitanyam cha swat dashabhedena vividham. The jivas are of two types. Well, the conscious beings who are subject to control, who are controlled, are of two types in consideration of their states of existence. Those who are covered by Maya and those who are not covered by Maya. Technically, those who are covered by avidya and those who are not covered by avidya. Travrutam deva manushya tiryagadi. The covered jivas are the devatas, men, animals, and so on. Anavrutam dvividham. The uncovered jivas, the covered jivas means the jivas covered by avidya, ignorance. The jivas, uncovered jivas means the jivas who are not covered by avidya, ignorance. They are of two types. Ishvarena Aishwarya Shakti Anavishtam Avishtam cha. Those endowed with the Lord's Aishwarya Shakti, those uninfluenced by that Shakti. In other words, those who are empowered by the Lord's opulence and those who are not empowered by the Lord's opulence. Anavishtam Stulatot Vividham. Those who are not empowered by the Lord's opulent potency are, broadly speaking, divided into two types. Jnana Bhakti Sadhana Vashat Ishvare Leenam Alinam Cha. Those who by practice of jnana merge into the Lord, a lamentable condition, and those who by practice of bhakti remain differentiated from the Lord and taste His sweetness. Prathamam Shocham Dvitiyam Tan Mādhurya-swadya Shocham. So the first is a lamentable condition, the second is a non-lamentable condition, because they are relishing the Supreme Lord and so on. They're relishing the sweetness of the Supreme Lord and so on. Avishtam cha dvividham. Those who are empowered by the Lord's opulence, they are of two types. Chiddamsha bhuta, jnanadhivir, mayamsha bhuta, srishtyadavishyeti. Those influenced by elements such as jnana, which belong to the spiritual sphere. For example, the four Kumaras, who are empowered by the Lord's knowledge potency, Prathamam Chatussanadi. And those influenced by such elements as the function of creation, etc., which are connected to the material sphere. For example, Brahma. In that way, you have two types. Evam cha, and so Vishnu Shivayor Abhedayeva Prasakta Chaitanya Aikar Rupyat. So then, now we have come to the point that Vishnu and Shiva are non-different because both of them have this are conscious beings of the same type. Nishkamair upasyatva anupasyatve tu nirgunatva sadgunatvam evetyavagantavya. The persons who worship, but still there's a distinction here in terms of Lord Vishnu being Nirguna, Lord Shiva being Saguna. In terms of Lord Vishnu being worshipped by those who have no material motives, and Lord Shiva being worshipped by those who do have material motives. So that should be understood. Though this is true, the devotee must understand that that's a difference in worship of the Lord with a touch of material qualities and with no material qualities. Vishnu Brahma Destu Bhedeva Chaitanya Parsakya Deva. Brahma and Vishnu, Vishnu and Brahma, etc. However, are actually different because they belong to different category of conscious beings. Pachittu Suryasya tad avishta Suryakantam Maner Abhedaiva Vishnu Brahmanor Abhedasya Puranam Vachaneshu Drishtaha. Sometimes Brahma and Vishnu are described as identical in the Puranas, but one should understand this statement by the example of the sun and the Suryakanta jewel, which is invested with the light of the sun and is therefore considered non-different in that aspect. Kimcha, Vachan Mahakalpe Shivopi Brahma eva Ishvaravishta Jiva eva Bhavet. But in some Mahakalpas, even Shiva is a Jiva who is empowered by the Supreme Lord. In this case, Shiva is like Brahma. Yaduktam Kvachit Jiva Visheshatvam Harasyoktam Vidher Jiva. Not Vidhor, it's Vidher. Like Brahma, Shiva is sometimes a Jiva, noted in Laghu Bhagavatam. Ata eva, therefore, Avishtam Chid Vividham. Ata eva, Yastu Narayanam Devam, Brahma Rudradi Devatai, Samatve Naiva Viksheta Sapashandi Bhaved Dhruvam, Iti Vachanamapi, Brahma Sahacharyena Sangachatte iti. Thus, Shiva is sometimes classed with Brahma. In the following statement, a person who considers Narayana as equivalent to Brahma, Shiva, and other devatas is a low rascal. Actually, what Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur is arguing here is sometimes Lord Shiva, like Lord Brahma, is just a jiva, a living entity, who has been empowered with the potency of the Lord. In other words, a living entity in certain Mahakalpas are actually certain living entities are empowered by Lord Shiva, the original Lord Shiva, Adi Shiva. And that explains Rupa Goswami's statement. And that also explains this particular scriptural statement from Padma Purana, where Lord Shiva is bracketed in, grouped in along with Brahma. Evam aparyalochayatam Vishnureva Ishvaraha na Shivaha Shiva eva Ishvaraha na Vishnur Vayam Ananya Naiva Pashyamaha Shivam Vayam cha na Vishnum ityadi vivadagrastam matinam aparadhe jate kalena kadachit tat paryalochana Dikya sadhu jana prabodhi tatve teshameva shivatya bhagavat surupat abhinnatvena labdha pratitinam namakirtanena eva aparasa chayaha. Those who are not fully researched in the matter say that Vishnu is a Lord, not Shiva, or that Shiva is the Lord, not Vishnu, or that since I am a devotee of Vishnu, I will not give regard to Shiva, or since I am a devotee of Shiva, I will not respect Vishnu. Such people deliberately involving themselves in arguments become offenders. Such people's minds being caught up in such controversies, they commit offenses. If such offenses can become enlightened by a knowledgeable devotee, if those persons can be enlightened by sadhus, very experienced by sadhus who are very experienced in the analysis of the intended meaning of these scriptures, then they can realize how Shiva and Vishnu are not different. Then they can realize that Shiva is not different from a form of Bhagavan. With this realization, and by performing Namakirtana, the person can nullify his offense. Then, then through Namakirtana, this particular offense will diminish and be destroyed, will perish. Evam cha bhakti prashanti bahirmukhyo vidita iti jnana karma vipakha jnana karma pratipadaka shruti yenaiva mukhena anindam tenaiva mukhena tas tad anushasrinscha janan muhur abhinandya namabhir uchchai sankirtitai. What to do? Uchchai sankirtitai shruti shastra nindana rupat chaturtha aparadat nistareyuhu. Shruti shastra nindana. Disrespect for the Shruti scripture. Criticism of the Shruti scripture. One may criticize the Shrutis which emphasize jnana or karma because they do not touch bhakti. And therefore they are averse to bhakti, these Shrutis. And therefore they are condemned. If one thinks like this, then if one commits this offense, one obtains relief when one has a fortune to understand from a knowledgeable person that the Shrutis mercifully help the most blind, unqualified, and independent people to come to the path of bhakti. Commission of the fourth offense can be nullified by using the same mouth that criticizes the scriptures, such as the Shrutis propounding karma and jnana, to praise the same scriptures and to praise the practitioners of those scriptures, that is, performers of karma and jnana, and by performing loud chanting of the holy name. यतः ता श्रुतयः भक्तिमार्गेषु अनधिकारिणः स्वच्छन्दवर्तिनः परमरागान्धान् अपि वर्थम मात्रम् अध्यारोहयितुम् उद्यताः परमकारुणिकाः एव इति तत्तात्पर्यविद्यजन प्रबोधिता यदि भाग्यवशात् भवेयुस्तदेवेति. This is because those Shruti scriptures, they are dealing with people who have no eligibility to come to the pathway of bhakti. and who are simply engaging in whimsical endeavors. They have, even though they're blinded, even though they're excessively blinded by various material attachments, the Shruti scriptures simply want to, they are simply endeavoring to bring these living entities up to the pathway. So they are most merciful. So when one is enlightened by persons who are experienced with the intentions of the scriptures, by good fortune, only then this criticism of the Shruti scriptures, this fourth offense, perishes. Evameva anyesham api shannam aparadhanam udbhavan nivritti nidanani avagantavya. In the same way, one should understand the appearance and nullification of the six offenses, other six offenses. You should understand how the six offenses arise and how the six offenses can be made to cease. They can be made to look at the other types of anarthas. Okay. The anarthas arising from bhakti. Atha bhakti uthaha. Te cha moola shakhata upashakha eva. Bhakti eva dhanadi लाभ पूजा प्रतिष्ठाद्याः स्ववृत्तिभिः साधक चित्तम अपि उपरज्य स्ववृद्ध्या मूलशाखामिव भक्तिमपि कुण्ठयितुं प्रभवन्ति इति. Just as along with the main plant many weeds grow, by the cultivation of bhakti there appears acquisition of material wealth and other facilities, well, worship and respect by others, prestige, and so on. By their very nature, they have the power to influence the heart of the devotee, and they are capable of obscuring and restricting the growth of the main plant that is meant to be cultivated. Tesham Chaturnam Anarthanam Nivrittirapi Panchavidha. Nullification of the anarthas. Four types of anarthas mentioned, namely those arising from previous sinful activity, from previous pious activity, from Nāmāśraya, and from cultivation of bhakti, have 5 grades of eradication. Literally, there are 5 types. Ekadeshavartini, Ekadeshavartini, Bahudeshavartini, Prayiti, Purna, Atyantiki, Iti. These are the 5 grades. Limited to one anartha, Ekadeshavartini. Pervasive, affecting many anarthas, Bahudeshavartini. General, Prayiti. Prayiti means almost complete. Complete, Purna, and absolute, Atyantiki. तत्र ग्रामोदग्धं पटोभग्न इति न्यायेन अपराधोत्थानम् अनर्थानां निवृत्तिर्भजनक्रियानन्तरम् एकदेशवर्तिनि निष्ठायाम् उत्पन्नायां बहुलदेशवर्तिनि रता उत्पद्यमानायां प्रायिति प्रेम्णि पूर्णा श्री भगवत्पाद प्राप्तौ आत्यन्तिकी. Anarthas arising from Nāmāśraya are removed in the following stages. With the performance of devotional activities, bhajana kriya, there is limited eradication, limited means this. With the appearance of nishtha, the eradication is pervasive. With the appearance of rati or bhava, the eradication is general, almost complete. With the appearance of prema, the eradication is complete. With the attainment of the Lord's lotus feet, the eradication is absolute. Okay, but what happened to this? Tatra gramodhanta pato bhagna iti nyayena. This is similar to the when you hear that a village is burnt or a cloth is torn. It is not that In 1 second, the entire village is gone off. There are stages. Similarly, a cloth is torn. Stages are involved. Yastu tatrapi mahad aparadha sa pratitika eva na vastavaha. Thus, in the case of Chitraketu, who had attained the lotus feet of the Lord, Atyantiki, his accidental Mahaparadha to Shiva was apparent, not real. Satyam prema sampato parshadattvam tritratva yor vaishishtya abhava siddhanta. Since he was endowed with an abundance of prema, this is proven by the fact that he did not distinguish between his form as an associate of the Lord and as a demon, Vritrasura. Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur is actually saying, since Chitraketu had attained the treasure of Prema Bhakti, it is concluded that there was nothing, no distinction between his nature as an associate of the Lord or as Vritrasura. In other words, his Krishna consciousness did not go down or up and so on. So from that we understand that the great offense that Chitraketu appeared to have accidentally committed was just incidental. It is just not even incidental. It is not factual. Jayam Vijaya Yost Vaparasa Karanam Prema Vijrimbhita Svecha Eva. The cause of the offense of Jay and Vijay was a manifestation of their personal desire derived from prema. Sacha, he Prabhuva, Pratikuli Kritya Tad Yuddha Sukham Anubhuyatam Ityavayo. Swatah paripurnatayam anumatramapi nyunatvam asahamaanayo kinkarayo prarthana hataha swabhakti vatsalya gunamapi lakukritya nishpadyatam itya akara kadachitka prasanga bhava manasaiva jaya. The two desired, O Lord of Lords, O best of Lords, please make us inimical to you and experience the happiness of a war, being his faithful servants. They could not tolerate to see any lack whatever in the Lord's perfection. Let your affection for your devotees diminish and make this arrangement. So, now by listening to our prayer, please do this. So this kind of such occasional mental states should be understood to be arising from their affection. The eradication of the anarthas arising from previous sin is as follows. Tatha dushkritothanam bhajanakriya anantaram eva prayiki nishtayam jatayam purna asakta veva atyantiki tatha bhaktiyutthanam bhajanakriya anantaram ekadeshavartini nishtayam purna ruchavatyantiki anubhavina bahudrishvana samyak vivichya anumantavyam. The eradication of anarthas arising from previous sin as follows. With the performance of bhajana kriya, the eradication is almost complete. With the appearance of nishtha, eradication is complete. And the appearance of asakti, it is absolute. The eradication of anarthas arising from bhakti is as follows. With the performance of bhajana kriya, eradication is limited. With the appearance of nishtha, it is complete. With the appearance of ruchi, it is absolute. The wise man should conclude in this way after considering all matters thoroughly. The experienced person of wide-ranged vision should carefully analyze these matters and come to this conclusion and understand this. Nanu amha samharadakilam sakrududaya deva iti yannama sakrikshavanat ukkashopi vimuchyate samsaradityapi pramana shatat ajamilad yupakhya shvekasyaiva namabhasasya avidya paryanta sarvanartha nivritti purvaka bhagavat prapakatvanu bhavat bhagavat bhaktanam duritado nivrittau duritadi nivrittau uktah kramaha na sangachate. Or may raise the objection that these stages of extinguishing anarthas do not apply to devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. By quoting hundreds of evidences, such as, with one utterance of the holy name, all sins are destroyed. If one hears the holy name even one time, an outcast can obtain liberation from the material world. Also, in the case of Ajamila, simply by his uttering the Lord's name once in Namabhasa, all anarthas, even after avidya, ignorance, the root cause of material bondage, were removed. And he attained the lotus feet of the Lord. This was experienced. This was seen in Srimad Bhagavatam. So, one might object that the above mentioned sequence of eradication of anarthas, that doesn't seem to fit. That doesn't fit. Satyam, this is true. Namna etavatyeva shaktir, natra sandeha. One should have no doubt that the holy name has such inestimable power. Parantu, swaparadhikshu aprasannena tena yat swashakti samyakna prakashyate taddeva dushtata adinam jivatur iti avagantavyam. But because the holy name is unhappy with offenses committed against it, it does not manifest its complete power in the offender. Kintu yamadutanam tad akramanena shakti. But the Yamadutas have no capacity to take over such a sinful person. This is the reason why the sinful tendencies continue their existence, because the holy name is not manifesting its power fully. But though these tendencies continue for some time, the servants of death have no power to attack such a person. Nate yamam pasham bhritascha tad bhatan swapne pi pashyansi yade. Persons who only once absorb their minds in Krishna's lotus feet, even if it occurs in dreams, or even though the mind still has material attraction, do not see the servants of Yama, since they have accomplished all atonement by that remembrance. So there are statements to this effect. Na vidyate tasya yamayirhi shuddhirityatra yamaihi yogangaihi iti vyakhyaya. In the phrase na vidyate tasya yamayirhi shuddhihi, the word yama refers to the rules of yoga practice, yama, niyama, etc. And thus means that for such a person there is no need of other forms of purification through the various processes of the Ashtanga Yoga system. Yatha samarthena paramadhyena api swamina kritaparadhaha swajanaha yadi na palyate kintu tatra udasyate tadaiva dukkha daridrya malinya shokadayaha kramena labdhavasara bhavanti na tu anyadiya jana epi khadapi iti yeya. The case of the offender losing the mercy of the name is similar to a subordinate who is offensive to his wealthy master. He is denied proper care and is treated indifferently by the master. As a result of the withdrawal of mercy, that person suffers poverty and distress of all sorts. He suffers distress, poverty, uncleanliness, distress, and so on. They all get their opportunities to take over this person. At the same time, however, people not under the jurisdiction of wealthy masters do not suffer such hardships. तथा च पुनः स्वस्वामिनः मनोभिरुचिञ्जाम् अनुवृत्तौ सत्यां शनैः तत्प्रसादात् दुःखदारिद्र्यादयः शनैः अपयान्ति. But if the offending servant serves his master in a pleasing manner, in a manner pleasing to his master's mind, the master gradually shows mercy, and that person's suffering is step by step eliminated. That person's distress, poverty, and so on are step by step removed. तथा भगवद भक्त शास्त्र गुरु प्रभृतिभ्यर अमायया मुहुः सेवितैः शनैरेव तस्य नाम्नः प्रसादे दुरितादीनामपि शनैरेव नाशः. In the same way, the offending devotee will at first suffer some miseries, but if he performs sincere service to the spiritual master, devotees, and to the scriptures, Bhagavad Bhaktas, Bhagavad Shastra, and the spiritual masters, and so on, without duplicity, sincere service. If he repeatedly serves them, then the name will again gradually manifest mercy and gradually eliminate his evil tendencies. And gradually his sinful activities and so on will perish. Iti nasti vivada. Thus the arguments against the gradual elimination of anarthas hold no ground. Nacha mama kopi nasti nāmāśraya-bhakti vaktavyam. One should not say, I have committed no offenses. Phalenaika phala karanasya aparadasya prachinasya arvachinasya va anumana. One can infer the existence of either recent or long-standing offenses by their effect. Phalam cha bahunama kirtanebi premalinga anudayaha iti. The effect of offenses is that a person will not manifest symptoms of prema by performances of lots of nama kirtana, lots of chanting. Yaduktam, as it has been stated. Tadashmasaram hridayam batetam yadgrishyamanair harinamadhyayai na vikriyetathe yada vikaro netre jalam gatra ruheshu harshaha. One's heart is as hard as stone if one chanting the holy name. While chanting the holy name, there is no change in the heart, tears in the eyes, or standing of hairs on the limbs. Nāmāśraya. And while discussing about the Nāmāśraya's, we come across a statement. O Brahmana, what are the offenses to the name which destroy men's pious actions and lead them to a material world? This is the superficial meaning. But there's a deeper meaning there. Tadiya guna namadini sadhyaha prema pradhanyapi shrutani kirtitani cha tattithadikam sadhyah siddhitam api chirat sevitam tan niveditani hrita dugdha tambuladini sadhyah sarvendriya tarangan nivartakani muhuraswadya upayuktanyeva swataha parama chinmayanyapi etani yasmat prakritani iva bhavanti te aparadha ke bhagavan nama. iti sotkampa savishmaya prashnaha. In other words, repeatedly hearing and chanting the Lord's names and qualities should, in fact, immediately give prema. Serving for a long time, the sacred tirthas bestow perfection. Tasting repeatedly the ghee, milk, and betel prasadam offered by the Lord destroys all desires for sense enjoyment. Immediately. By what offenses do all these spiritually potent activities become material, as if material? Prakritani iva bhavanti. The question is asked with astonishment and trembling out of fear of the Nāmāśraya. Actually, we should be frightened of offenses. Okay, I'll put a note here. Why I'm putting like this in my system? Hold on. Okay. Okay, any questions? Next time. Just 1 minute. 1 minute. What did we all do? We completed Shikshashtaka, Harivasivila, Pradeshamrita, Nāmāśraya. I need to complete Chakravarti, 6th canto, and then I also took up Mādhurya Kādambinī. The next is we have to go through Bhakti Vinod Thakur. We'll go through Shri Harinam first, then Vaishnava Ninda, then Harinam Chintamani, selection from Bhajanga Hasya, selections from Nāmāśraya, selections from chanting Hare Krishna. Okay. Prem goes on the book.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam.
Prabhuji, this point which came up about some Vaishnavas are extremely compassionate and they completely don't take an offense at all. And in fact, they help the offender to become a devotee, as it happened in case of Rahuguna and Madai and that Chedi Raja or whatever. So my question is then, these people like Rahuguna, does he get affected by that ninda or he doesn't get affected at all, or what happens exactly?
Nityananda Prabhu was accepted by Lord Jagai Madhava were accepted by Nityananda Prabhu.
But Rahuguna, do you know?
Oh, Rahugana also surrendered to Jadabharata. There's no description that he suffered and all that.
So that means in case of such Vaishnavas, if you surrender after the offense, then there is no reaction. Is it correct?
If they forgive.
Yeah, because they are extremely compassionate, so they are forgiving, isn't it?
Yeah, but we are not talking of some sadhaka Vaishnava here.
I agree. I'm just
because there are even non-devotees who simply forgive.
Mm-hmm.
Not on the mental platform.
Yeah, I understand. And Guruji, one more question, like what is a Mahakalpa? How much is a Mahakalpa? One Kalpa is 1 day.
So it looks like a Mahakalpa is the life of Brahma.
Or is it one month of Brahma?
Is it? Right. is all going above my head. Wait, let me take up something that I can follow. Okay, let me look at Vācāspatya. See what Vācāspatya is. Ayameva Mahakalpa Shatayu. This appears to be one life of Brahma.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Tatayur Mahakalpa. Yes, it is Brahma's life. Brahma's lifespan, that is Mahakalpa Ityuktam. At least that's what it, according to this is standard Vācāspatya, it's a standard encyclopedia of Sanskrit word.
Prabhuji, we saw in Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's explanation where he referred to two different verses from the Puranas which say that considering Lord Shiva and Vishnu equal is actually like a pasandi, and also he said Shiva and Vishnu are not different. So can we say that the correct understanding is that they are both different and not different also? Is it correct?
It refers to different situations. Sometimes Lord Shiva, when we talk about Lord Shiva, we are talking of a living entity. Sometimes when we talk of Lord Shiva, we are talking of the original Lord Shiva. So you cannot make a blanket statement that Lord Shiva is different, because you may be referring to a living entity who is empowered by Shiva. So
no, but then when this pasandi thing refers to the empowered or the entity Shiva? Okay.
Yeah, it refers to the. Okay. That is why he's put in with Brahmana. That's his argument.
Okay. And when they say non-different, it is Sadashiva, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
The original Shiva.
Okay, Prabhu. That's it. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Anything else? All right.
If there is nothing, one more question, Prabhuji. It is said in this, we read that Jai Vijay's fall down due to their prema, and they got this desire that the Lord would like to fight, But then we hear that in Vaikuntha, there are only 2.5 rasas. Prema is not there, isn't it?
Why?
In Vaikuntha.
They have Dasya Prema, so what?
Oh, Dasya Prema.
Of course.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Anshakal Kudur Vyashya Pasanjali Vacha Paritana Pavnibhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha.